A bit of a different episode this week on the Rustic Spirits Homestead as we interview our first ever guest. Tim Schloss is an old friend of ours, and we happened to catch him travelling back to his home in Victoria on his way home from the Abbey Medieval Festival. Tim is a travelling artisan. He visits fairs and festivals around the country. He's a woodworker, he's a toy maker, he's an ambassador for lost trades. We wanted to have a conversation with Tim about what it means to look back on history and to celebrate some old world crafts, some forgotten skills, and to talk about what it means to slow down and appreciate not just the things you create in your world and in your life, but the tools you use to create with and the time it takes to do it. So I hope you enjoy this week's conversation. Well, welcome back to the Rustic Spirits podcast, and in yet another location, because we've decided that our podcast is now like our seating arrangements on the homestead. Kirsty sets up these different seating arrangements depending on what the time of day is and where the shade is. And
where the sun is in the wintertime when I need to be warm, and where the shade is when we need to either not get sunburned or need to film.
That's right, when you're filming a podcast and one person's nicely in the shade and the other person's face is full sun. We are here today with our first ever guest on our podcast. So welcome, Tim. Tim Schloss from Schloss Toys. Have I got the name of your business right?
Beautiful.
Oh, there we go. Is an old friend of ours and is on the podcast with us today because not only does he have a unique perspective on life, but he's got a unique job as well. Tim, tell us what you do.
Yes. I'm a toy maker.
Mm.
I facilitate people's dreams.
I love that.
I love to dream with people to create for them. That's one way of describing what I do.
So when you say you're a toy maker, though, you're not working for Hasbro making plastic molded little bubble wrapped toys.
No.
And we've got a little bit of a sampling of some of your wares on the table in front of us.
Imaginary adventure tools, not weapons, because I'd be an international arms dealer to children. We'll leave that one for others.
That's a bit of poor form.
Yeah.
That would not go well.
It works for others, but not me.
Definitely not going to. Oh, wow. We're definitely not going to get monetized on this episode. If that was the case.
Well, not if we say international arms dealer for children, or maybe we will. Specifically, you make wooden toys with that kind of sum up and you handcraft.
Correct. So as a furniture maker, that's my trade.
Yeah.
Furniture just wasn't going great in Australia. It's being killed by all cheap imports and IKEA and flat pack and rubbish like that. So typically people would be looking at 3, 4, 5 times what they think a piece should be.
Right.
And so a couple of boys walked into my workshop one time out at Dubbo and revolutionised my thinking. They said, "Make us some swords, Tim." Yeah. So I said, "You design them," and we went about making them together. Which then, I'd had a little bit of teaching background, not qualified, but just under other teachers teaching woodwork, and I'd done sort of a bit of Cert 3 training and CES small group sort of stuff, and so I had a bit of that understanding, and so it sort of developed into teaching them some of the processes and steps, getting them involved.
So we've known you for a long time. I've known you since before the toy making.
Correct.
But then when we sort of reconnected again a few years ago afterwards in the context of your toy making, in that we were running a property where you had just done a festival and we got you down to that property to do some of the workshops that you do. Did you do the toy making first, or was the festival aspect of that and doing the workshops and the family kind of kid focus of it, was that always the plan, or did it turn into that?
So I would turn up at a local market with some toy wooden swords. I was rehabilitating mental health clients with doing some furniture. So little rustic stools, they would be shaping up legs and stuff like that, just out Cessnock Way. So on the Hunter, in Newcastle, I was taking that sort of stuff and some little spatulas, kitchen sort of stuff to a local little market, the Olive Tree Market, turning up there, and I was a bit reticent with taking some swords. And I was like, no, I don't know how this is going to go. I'm expecting people like, sharp toys for kids and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
People don't do that.
I've only had only ever 1 or 2 people that have looked down their nose at it and gone, this is not good to be putting in kids' hands. But it's a lot to do with how you put it in their
How you
hands.
frame it,
Sure.
yeah.
Always put it in their hands with the knowledge that there's a responsibility. So
Sure.
there's a responsibility contract,
Yeah.
which goes a bit like, if you're going to own a Schloss sword, you've got to be responsible. They're good for dragons, trolls, goblins, stuff like that. No good for people. Used on people, there's a disappearing spell that mums and dads know.
Perfect.
You've done that before.
Thousands of times.
Yeah,
So
right.
I love doing that. So now I'm getting like older children, like
Yep.
adults, 20s, 30s, doing this workshop because it's just so creative, and at a festival it's so good. They just immerse in, and so I love telling them that as well. But so going back, sorry, got lost.
Yeah, no, you're
Going
right.
back to how it all began, I would turn up at this little market with a bunch of swords finished, some not finished, dealing with ADHD, needed the pressure to. So I'm there at the festival, at the little market, finishing off stuff, doing stuff. Kids would come along, often boys. For all of a sudden, there was something to do at a market and not just clothes to look at.
Right.
So I was doing something that was hitting a group of people at the market that had nothing to do, but now they've got something to do.
Yeah.
So they would want to come and just sit and hang out and get involved. But then also they would also look at my swords and go, I really like that sword, but I don't like that color leather. Can we change that? I'd be like, why am I doing all this hard work?
Yeah.
I get it all finished, but it's not to their specifications. So now I do a whole workshop of creative. So this is where I facilitate people's dreams. I start with a raw sword, or they do, after I've shaped it with my hand planes, usually right in front of them.
Yep.
Then they'll get the opportunity to sand it. They then put a name on it with some letter stamps. So we're hitting a whole lot of, hand-eye coordination, learning about wood grain. Then
and these are the kids that are doing that.
Yeah, little tiny kids right up. So
Fantastic.
obviously when you're small, mum and dad are helping a lot along the way. And I've got some people that are there, usually other kids. People love it when they're helping facilitated.
Yeah, right.
The facilitation's happening with other kids that I've trained to just be there to.
That's cool.
With the letter stamps, I love telling mums and dads that they can get involved. They'll hold the letter stamps while the little one will whack the end. It's a good trust exercise.
That's fantastic.
So what's been your experience with parents then? So it's a unique toy.
So
it's
many
a unique
different
skill, and you're a unique person.
Jeez.
What has been so I imagine, and I guess I've seen this in action, that parents see all of that, and in a setting like you say at a markets, for example, or a festival or whatever, where a lot of the stuff can be sort of same and not really aimed at the kids, and you're there giving this focus to the kids and doing this really unique activity with them with a set of skills that they might not have ever seen before, let alone participated in. How do you find that? What's been the parents' kind of response to all of that?
So a lot of the times there's an initial sort of, okay, this is great, this is amazing. Every now and again you come across people who are like, $30 to do a workshop, but it's great seeing that transformation as they go through, and they go, wow, that was so worth it. And you get the feeling like, maybe I come out a better than better off.
It's like an experience.
It's super valid.
You're not just getting a customized product. It's an experience that you're giving them as
exactly.
Well. Sure.
Because we're facilitating, so other things is branding and blackening, leather on the handle, some gemstones, and then they finish it off with oil. So the gemstones need to be prepared on a bit of sandpaper and then glued on. The leather is sort of hand wrapping it on, so there's all that sort of stuff. So parents come out at the end of like, wow, that is so good.
Yep.
Oh, you've got a really great little business model going on here, or oh, there's something really different going on here. So after choosing a sword, which is really interesting sometimes because you'll hear all kinds of talk about, well, you've got this much, I'll pay for the workshop, you can then decide, so how much money have you got? So there's all kinds of finance talk. I'll often refer to, like the finance department. So when kids come and ask, or parents, oh, how does this work? And as it's $30 to do the workshop plus the cost of the item, and that can range from $5 to $500. So
depending on the size
and how much effort. Because I have to make all these things, and my son and I, handmade out of old pallets.
You've pre-made kind of a rough sort of a template of what they're going to be working on, right?
Yeah, so we start off with a raw sword like so. It's not even shaped on the tip there. I shape it up, using my hand planes. One like that one over there, Kirsty. That little block plane. So that's handmade in Australia. That one. That's Terry Gordon. Beautiful plane. So I'll shape up the swords.
And so not only
making
are
the tip beautiful,
you're making a traditional toy. You've kind of pre-made some of it, but then you're kind of finishing it off in front of them. But you're also using some pretty traditional tools as well.
Yeah.
You're not there with drop saws and planers and orbital sanders.
Well, you can't talk to people, and
Yeah, right.
I'm often at medieval fairs as well, so I'm trying to use tools that would look like they would have used back in those days as well.
That's one of the stipulations of getting into some of these festivals.
Correct.
As well, isn't
For
it?
the
That you're
medieval
using
fairs.
traditional tools.
Yeah, that I'm there demonstrating traditional woodwork techniques,
Sure.
and that's what I'm teaching in my classes is hand skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to use a saw, a plane, a chisel. What I love seeing is that that idea, the kids getting excited about an idea, drawing it out, and then seeing a sword actually. It's remarkable just how similar, like how they get them, and then there's something really powerful about seeing their drawing and the actual thing. It's transpired from an idea to a physical thing.
Yeah, right.
Then you can ask the question, well, which one of those is more long lasting? That's a philosophical rabbit hole.
Guaranteed, though, a child who has been through that experience will care for that piece of equipment or that toy so much more diligently than something that they've just been given easily. Do you know
when you
what
just
I mean?
consume something,
there's a value
as to
there.
You've gone through and made all the choices as to how this thing looks, what colour you've put on the leather, you've got a name on it. I hear stories again and again of kids each year they come back and or they've got them wearing them, or they say, that sword, it just gets played with continually. It sleeps under the bed, it's because they're also good for monsters, I guess.
I think our kids have still got the ones that
There's at least a couple of those floating around.
Yeah, my kids have got theirs.
Yeah.
And they become these treasured heirloom toys. That's what I wanted to do with furniture, and that's what I still do, but I made one bed this year.
So you travel Australia, really, or the East Coast?
Yep, the East Coast.
You travel the East Coast of Australia. You're based in
Wangaratta, Victoria.
So you've just been up here. The reason you're here is because you've just been at Abbey Medieval Fair.
Correct, on the way back south.
Sunny Coast.
Yep.
So this is usually the time of the year that we get to see each other.
Yeah.
Unless we make the pilgrimage south. So you travel all over the East Coast of Australia, and this is your business.
Yeah, I'm a professional bum.
Well, it's obviously, and that's what I was going to...
I think it's genius.
Yeah, you've found a market and a business and a model, and it's pretty unique. My question is why? You've obviously got some talent and some skills, and we'll talk about some of these other things on the table soon as well. You could have probably gone in multiple different directions with all of this. You've kind of latched onto a few different, like the experience of it, the actual item that you're making, the fact that it's focused towards the kids. I mean, I could imagine that someone with some skills like yourself could go for some more higher end experiences or high end products, but you'd be eliminating a lot of what you actually get to do in that facilitation and teaching and, kind of who you're becoming known for in that. So why did you gravitate towards that as kind of your core business?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't know whether I've thought about that too.
Because what you have now as your experience, your products, your experience, however you want to call it, has been an evolution.
Totally.
And you've tweaked it and learned and adapted.
So I guess
what you have now.
It felt a lot like it just I fell into it.
Yep.
So the first time I went out to one of these medieval fairs was Lithgow's Iron Fest, and it just blew my mind. I was like, what is this? Yeah, like I was going to regular little markets, but I went away to this festival for 2 days, took a plastic 3x3 marquee, which got blown in the wind because that's just what Lithgow does, fell apart, had to stick it back together with branches from trees, so it looked amazing by the time I'd got it stuck up together on the Friday. And then, came home with more cash than I'd ever had before over a weekend. I'm like, okay, and then I ran around at the end of the festival going, are there more of these? How do I find them? And so that's when I started finding out all the different medieval fairs around the country, and I would just, and there's a circuit. There's like one a month that I kind of do throughout.
Really?
It kind of starts with the Lost Trades Fair in March, and then my season runs right through to October, November.
Yep.
And then summer is a little bit like, what am I going to do? And I should do some music festivals. Maybe I should go and do Woodford this year. I have done Woodford before.
Yeah.
You will have two volunteer helpers right here.
Yeah, so we should do that.
Yeah. We've talked about doing Woodford for probably the 20-something years that we've known each other.
About.
We have.
Yeah, whether we go as participants or entertainment.
Yeah, musical connoisseurs.
That's my thing though, is that it does feel like I'm on holiday, and but I also don't feel like I've had a holiday, because work is just such a joyous, rich, wonderful thing that you just end up, you do beautiful things like this, and then catching up with friends and stuff, but it's never like 2 weeks, just chill out, do nothing. Sure. And because you're a small business owner, you're continually on the clock thinking about stuff or feeling like you've got to be onto stuff.
Yeah.
So has there ever been the, I guess, pressure or temptation to continue to evolve this into something else? And that as a business owner, the dollars, you've got to make a wage. At the end of the day, you've got to feed your family. To, move away from any of this stuff, or to, kind of chase any brighter lights that you see around those festivals?
Brighter lights that I see around the festival? I don't know. There's nothing brighter than the Schloss Toys activity.
I guess
I feel like that's where everyone wants to be at.
I get that all the time.
I go to some of those markets now, and I see somebody's just jumped on Alibaba and ordered a whole bunch of plastic crap from China and popped up a 3x3 marquee, and there's probably a quick, easy dollar there.
Anymore.
There's a risk in what you're doing, and you said it before, in that a parent gets to your stall and sees $30 when the next stall over is selling $2 plastic water guns.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess while 10, 15 years ago now, I was at a market with a bit of that sort of vibe at Hanging Rock down in Victoria. Was doing a bunch of different markets around Victoria, trying to find the thing, as well as a couple of medieval fairs. There were people coming through. I'm like, where are you guys all going? And they said, we're off to the Lost Trades Fair in Kyneton. I'm like, okay, wow, what's going on there? There's people demonstrating this, that, there's coopering and old school furniture making and techniques and wheelwrights and this and that happening. I'm going, okay, right, I need to be there. Why am I here at this little market? I'm here shaping up my swords, demonstrating. I'm a demonstrator. I so should be there. So the next year I just rang up the organisers and said, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. And the organisers said, right, are you ready for the biggest thing you'll ever do?
Yeah.
And it is. And it's
right.
The Lost Trades Fair is.
Yeah. So, we've... okay, so here's a nice, interesting thing, is it was in Kyneton.
Yes.
It moved to Bendigo.
Yes.
It's going to Hanging Rock next year.
Right back to where
it's right where it's like about time you guys got to where I was the very first year. I was ahead. Always ahead of the curve.
There was one in Toowoomba as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, so that was pre-madness, that COVID funny stuff that happened. We were doing one up in Toowoomba and then also one in Sydney.
Wow.
Trying to come, because some of the exhibitors come from Queensland or Sydney and New South and stuff. So we were trying to travel around and try and give the Sydney people, but it attracts international and national visitors from all around the country. So.
It's very well put together, and I understand they kind of
it's a very big deal
after the madness.
Yes,
they just kind of pared things back a little bit to kind of recover and recoup.
Yeah.
But is it growing? Is it getting its legs back on it again?
I reckon this next year is going to be that test. Bendigo has never really done it for them.
Right.
It was good and great, and they had a lot of backing from Bendigo and good support. Just don't know whether, it was a bit hot a couple of years, so they're going to push it back instead of away from that Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
They're going to go to the end of March. Yeah.
So, but in terms of popularity, I mean, like Abbey Medieval Fair, that's huge. Obviously,
it was a sold out event this year. Yeah. It's all because that sword guy turns up there.
We've got a friend that's he's in the jousting, and
Yeah.
to see it,
Yeah.
Mark, and he's dressed in his full suit of
Yeah,
armor, and
all 14th century. It's got to be
It's
14th century armor.
it's
Does it?
phenomenal.
Yeah, it's particular. Abbey's
Yeah.
a particular joust.
Yeah.
right.
So things like that have obviously got enough interest in them that they can put on this year after year big thing.
Yep.
And even Lost Trades, it's unfortunate that it had to get scaled back a little bit again, but I think it'll probably start to balloon again. Do you think it'll move back to multiple locations?
I'm not sure about multiple locations yet, but okay. But what's behind that Lost Trades is that at Sovereign Hill there is a whole arts precinct, rare trades sort of, and there's a whole lot of skills, short courses being taught over and over.
Yeah, right.
There's and the guys that head up Lost Trades had a whole lot to do with setting that up.
Can you explain to, let's pretend I don't know anything about it, can you explain what Lost Trades, like, what does that encompass?
Yeah, so when we say scale it back, there's still like 300 individual artisans exhibiting at the event over the weekend. We tried 3 days these last year and it was just like, it's pretty full on and big, and it was hot. So they're going to go back to 2 days. So the Lost Trades experience is seeing all of those artisans demonstrating their craft. So you see the wheelwrights put on a wheel, a cooper assemble a bucket, the toy maker shape up his swords, but whatever, we see that at every event. Candles being dipped, spinners and weavers spinning and weaving, you see those at any country craft show maybe. Socks being knitted on a machine or hand knitted, shoemakers assembling shoes. Wow. A leather crafter, an amazing leather crafter we might talk about him later, putting art on leather. Blacksmiths, smashing out all kinds of great, interesting, creative, useful tin spinners. So there's a guy that makes cookie cutters. He just does cookie cutters, and then his brother does all the tin spinning. So gold panning pans, fry pans, lanterns, all kinds of cool stuff like that, all out of brass, tin,
and all
stainless.
out of like an artisan,
handcrafted,
old school.
Old car bodies, like the old sort of sheet metal fabrication car body coach builders.
Wow.
Tool makers, so like Terry Gordon, Colin Clanton, they're Australian tool makers that turn up there. Armourer, so there's Lord Bloomfield turns up and has all his majestical armour. Horn work, there's a guy up in Queensland here, Crofters Craft, they do horn cups, and bone handled knives, and various different vessels. Horn was a very popular product in medieval times. You see a lot of horn drinking as well as bowls
it can hold
out of horn. It was like medieval plastic. You heat it up and then it can be goes floppy. You can then mould it.
Interesting.
So I can understand why a medieval festival like Abbey would work, because I imagine that in some certain respects it's like going to a live movie. There's that kind of entertainment.
It's like a destination.
Who doesn't want to see two guys riding at each other on horseback?
And so I get why
you go to Disneyland, or like it's an entertaining, otherworldly.
It is a step back in time.
Yeah.
So I get why your thing would fit in there, but now thinking about Lost Trades, which is kind of what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about. Why does that work? Why are people interested in a festival that's just about the artisans and their craft and taking a little step back in time to how things were done?
Yeah, it is still a step back in time, because these days no one's using their hands, and schools are taking all of that sort of aspect out because insurance is scared the
really
everything. So a lot of schools are not offering any woodwork, metalwork, sort of hand-based.
Really?
It's very minimal, sort of. From what I'm understanding, people are saying, we just don't get this at schools. There's none of this. So even those small little aspects of what I'm doing in my workshop, kids are not getting that. It's all screen and keyboards, mouse. That's the only stuff.
I guess from a practical perspective, they're not going to go into like an engineering or a manufacturing role where they would need to use hand tools, right?
No, they're
it's going to be computer driven.
Yeah, it's all computer driven. So there's
lost is really the right word.
Yeah, I think for a lot. So for those people that are in those jobs, the generation of the past that are now out in those jobs, they're just sedentary all day on computers. There's something in them that there's a desire to create. There's something innate in us as humans that wants to do that. And there, besides just that sort of like, oh, I just want to do something different other than stare at a screen, there's something, yeah. So there's a couple of deep things going on there, I think, as to why it's so popular and what's going on.
So are you saying that it's not necessarily that it's an old world skill and so therefore feels a bit kind of foreign and mysterious, but it's also about that disconnect that's happened to the creative process? So or is it also about looking back towards our roots and our history and trying to maintain a connection?
I think there's something innate within us. We've been made a certain way to be creative, and that can encompass so much. You can be creative with a computer and a keyboard for sure.
Yeah.
But there's something about taking that raw material, working with that raw material, shaping it, making it, like I was explaining before, like having an idea and then coming up with the product finished by your hands. There's something really rich in taking a bit of timber and making a spoon. Why spoon carving in the last 10 years is just like, there was a thing on the South Coast, Spoon Jam, and like, spoon carvings.
Spoon Jam?
That was a festival.
A whole festival around spoons.
Yeah, spoon carving and stuff. And so it's because it's simple, it's small, you can just take a couple of simple tools and you can create something. So it's that innate thing. There's something in us that wants to be able to envision something and create something practical there's something immense about being able to use something you've made.
Yeah.
Like I get a huge amount of pleasure using this axe because I handled it. Sure, I picked up the blade, but I handled the thing.
Handled as in made the handle.
Made the handle and fitted it, and now use it as a demonstration, as part of my at medieval fairs and stuff. Yeah.
Look at that.
Should have been cleaned up a bit, but and it's just a beautiful side axe shaping up, and you can shape up beautiful legs. And that was axe hewn, so just shaped up with that axe, and even the top was all axe hewn. And as it's dry, it's got a little bit of lovely sort of curve there. So it's rustic, it's rough.
Yeah.
But it was an exercise just to see, how an axe.
And no two things are going to come out the same way. Do you think
can make them look similar, but they're not like they've come off a CNC machine. That's what I love. That's what I was something that I loved about furniture making. That thing of cutting or shaping and making several items so that they look very similar as much as you could, but you're also time pressured, so you're trying to punch them out. But the industrialization of it all, or the computerization, it makes it all exact. And there's a certain advantage to that at times, but you lose that humanness and the beauty. You lose the beauty.
Yeah, there's something about seeing a piece. You watch some of those shows, like we used to say, like you'd watch The Block or one of those renovation kind of shows, and then they'd come to the part where they were dressing the room or whatever. You're like, you shopped at Kmart, or that's from IKEA.
Yeah.
Everybody's got that cushion, like everybody, and there's just so much samey to stuff. And I guess that's probably even, and toys is kind of your focus. Like that's definitely the experience in the world of toys, isn't it? Because it doesn't matter if you go to I don't even think Toys R Us exists anymore, but like a Toy World or a Kmart or a Target or whatever, they're all pulling from the same set of stock from the same factories overseas, probably nothing manufactured here, and it all looks the same.
You can say the same about music. Lenny Kravitz wrote a song, Rock and Roll is Dead. There's musicians, like even when it's all sampling and stuff like that, you can take samples off the internet, or my wife Ruth was watching some movie, I can't remember what it is again now. It was about a guy who did that sampling and his journey, and his coaches or mentors were telling him, make the sounds yourself.
Yeah, right.
Even if you're sampling your own sounds, then you're not shopping at Kmart, you're making, so even in that so, and I think that's where people, and maybe where AI is going to be, it's just, you still need to be creative yourself, then use that, replicate that. You're going to end up with something. That's the difference between artist and someone who's just mimicking or just doing it easy or,
They are saying that about AI, you know, when you start having some of these conversations about what is the future of employment going to look like, and hand work, like when you work with your hands in certain jobs, there's going to be an upset, and then there's going to be a shift towards looking for the true and looking for the authentic.
And young people can see it. Like my kids are showing me stuff and we're going, oh, look, that's good. Oh, yeah, it's just AI, Dad.
Yeah, so it'll be all fascinating at first, and wonderful that certain jobs can get done that nobody wants to do, and that. But then all of a sudden there's going to be this displacement of people, and then there's going to be this search for or hunger for the authentic and the real, and there's going to be these opportunities. Like,
that's what Lost Trades is about. Authenticity is one, integrity. They're their words on their emblem.
I remember the shift in myself, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, when I realized how consumer driven I was by trends and everything, and how unoriginal my life was, because it just looked the same as everybody else. And the moment that I just went, I'm done with this, I would rather have less items that I know who has made them, or I know where they've come from, or have some kind of meaning to me, than keeping up with the Joneses and all of this plastic, you know.
Because you're only ever copying in that, I think.
But that's what Kmart and all of those places do, or Temu now. They actually do rip artists off. There are people whose pottery designs, whose art has been taken, changed just enough for them to get away with it, and all of a sudden then mass produced at a lower quality and a lower price point. And I guess that's probably one of the questions I want to ask you. And you really probably were the one that helped educate me about this whole artisan, you know, looking for the real items and the real pieces and the joy that can come from using those things.
Yeah, there's an immense joy.
There is an immense joy when Regan uses the tanket.
I know. I need to make a confession here, because this is probably from Kmart, right? I'm drinking that, and I have one of these that you bought me, and it is my most treasured cup, along with a couple of pottery ones.
Must have been, because when the handle broke, you rehandled it.
I made the handle myself because I was not giving up on my tankard, and
you weren't just going to throw that out. So what happens if you get a crack in that one?
Well, I'll just throw it out. There's no way that I'm spending time repairing that.
That's right.
I bought these for my 40th birthday party.
They do look a bit retro 80s, like they might have been.
I didn't want to do throwaway.
So there's
we'll have like
so you bought a heap.
I bought them because I care about aesthetics.
But I wanted to use that as an example, and I realised I'm sitting here drinking out of a plastic cup. I have one of those tankards that's made by your friend, and it is
one of my masters now.
Oh,
I want to take on a new trade.
Of course you do.
Because I'm going to become a cooper.
Yeah.
Which is a bit tongue in cheek, because, you know, like I'm just nuts busy doing what I'm doing. Yeah. But I know 3 coopers that are getting long in the tooth, shall we say, that are on there. Yeah, that they've written stuff down. Yeah, there's documentaries, there's stuff going on, but I feel like I've got a fair amount of the skill set already in my hands. I said years ago that my brains were in my hands. I got to year 10 and started doing metalwork and woodwork, and just all of a sudden I was the top of the class in something. Then went and did an apprenticeship in furniture making, finished that early because of, you know, just having been skilled enough. And then when I was given the opportunity to make some of these toys alongside the swords, and they came after anyway, there's a story there. But like a duck to water, just started creating them. After I'd been shown how to make them, I could just then reproduce and create, and then take them further and keep pushing. And so with coopering, I'm seeing a whole at medieval markets, festivals and stuff, where, tankards and buckets are needed by reenactors, but then just being able to talk to people about a bucket that's going to last you a lifetime, especially if you treat it right, you might have to think about it, because it's a living thing, because it's out of timber. It's going to move and do stuff, as opposed to buying a piece of plastic that is usable for a certain lifetime,
Yep.
then not usable, but then around on the planet unusable, but
for the rest of the
annoying.
time.
Yeah, as plastic particles, as microplastics.
Well, as we
But
were
even
talking about last night, and I'm like, I
Microplastics.
am drinking out of a plastic cup.
But even that, we used to run an activity for 6 or 7 years at our last gig where we would milk a cow, and we used a metal milking pail. So
Yeah.
I feel good about that. It's a bit traditional,
I feel good
and
about that.
if it gets thrown out, it's going to break down kind of naturally into the environment. But then we had your friend Andrew the Cooper make
One
us
of my masters.
Yeah, make us a milking bucket with a proper timber bucket with the bands and one of the staves
as a handle. Yeah.
Beautiful. That probably got as much questions
Yes.
in that activity as the cow.
Yeah.
Yes.
About the cow. Not that people were asking
Which
the cow
is just
questions.
going back another era before the metal bucket.
But
Yeah.
even then, it became this point of being able to say to them, because not long after that happened, I think there was a period where we had to shut down either because there were floods or because of the COVID thing. The milking bucket for a while sat under a bench not being used. And it all started to dry out because it wasn't getting its daily dose of milk and washing and that sort of thing into it. And so things started to move on it. And then we're like, oh, we've got to keep this thing wet. And,
Yes.
you know, how you look after it. And so it became this kind of talking point. And we didn't want to let it go to waste. I couldn't just easily buy another one.
Yeah.
And even though it was in the same category as that metal milking pail and that I felt good about it environmentally, I felt more connected to that item because I knew the craftsman behind it. I knew what it took to put it together. But I'd put some extra dollars into getting this thing, and it required a little bit of extra love.
Imagine if you had have done a workshop and made the bucket.
Yeah, that's next level.
The question that I want to come back to is the when you get comments about how much something costs. And back at the start, you talked about how there's no money in handmade furniture because people aren't willing to spend $5,000 on a handcrafted piece of furniture when they can spend $500 on something from Amart.
And have to build it themselves.
I want to talk about that because there was a mindset shift that we both went to, the appreciation of something that's handmade, but also the appreciation that there is a person behind that product.
Yep.
That I am not just paying for the product, I am paying for the experience and the skill and the hours much longer that it took rather than the factory that it took, and understanding that you could tell me where that piece of timber came from and the story behind it.
Stories of,
Talk to me about your experience with trying to educate people on why something is worth a higher price point, but when they can just get something the same down the road at Kmart.
Yeah. It's never going to be the same from down.
The same.
It's got no soul.
But that's what an ignorant, that's what an,
totally.
that ignorance, it's not the same. How do you, talk to me
Hey,
about that whole thing?
I got so distracted last time. We ended up on another.
I know.
Didn't get anywhere near that.
That's nothing like our conversations in real life, is it? It's like we're letting the world see our rambling conversations, and it hasn't changed in 25 years.
No. So coming back to that, that's why. So heavily influenced by Lost Trades Fair and that experience, seeing that they could draw people to a space that had that mindset.
Yeah.
Being at a market, being placed beside a toy importer from India, China, whatever, or any shop that's got prices like that, and then they walk into your stall right beside, it's like, whoa, well, we're just going to keep walking.
Yeah.
Why would we pay that? They just didn't understand it.
No.
That's why it's really important to show them you're making stuff. I'm there demonstrating. We've got people there, but you still get questions. So have you made this stuff? What do you think?
You're not that
Am I-
sarcastic, are you?
No. But
your
that's
head
what's
you
in my
are.
head. I'm like, really? Are you asking that question?
No.
But I know that when I'm on the other side of the store, I'm that dumb too. I will always, anyway,
No, but
ask
it's true.
dumb questions. Yeah,
It's
we're
true.
dumb when we're on that.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Our job as the vendor is to be
educate.
beautiful and lovely to the customer and educating. Yeah. So I understand. So that's why I championed historical artisans. So there's a bunch of us that go to these medieval fairs that I have said to the organisers, we are not reenactors. We're not just dressing up and making. We're not archaeologists or high-paid computer guys or whatever and playing on the weekend. So we're different to reenactors. We want to look like them and look like we're dressed and stuff. And we're definitely not just standard stall holders. We don't want to be in that space beside fantastic plastic imported stuff. We're not competing. We don't want to be in the same space as them. So we have a whole new space, different, set aside to them at these events. So that the historical artisans, myself, the toy maker, Count Laszlo, make leather, doing his beautiful work. Lord Bloomfield on occasions when we can get him. Village blacksmiths. There's about 3 different blacksmiths that's come and hang out depending on which part of the country we're in. Pat the Weaver, the Lura Bodger, Darhard Clothing Tailor and stuff like that. And then Michaela's Unmentionables. We don't talk about her.
Unmentionables. Does she make
undergarments, sort of stuff, undies?
Okay. That's a handmade underwear.
Yeah, her name's Rhiannon, but she calls it Michaela's Unmentionables.
Michaela's Unmentionables.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's so cool. So there are you definitely have like personality plus. You always have.
Well, thank you.
But at these festivals, you kind of all lean into the quirky artisanal.
Some of us don't have to work very hard. Count Laszlo is just who he is.
And Laszlo's actually his name.
Laszlo.
I'm not sure he's a real count, but he's definitely
Hungarian?
got that.
He's Hungarian. Yeah. Look, there's an example of his work.
That's beautiful.
And this.
Are you saying these guys, the difference between them and say what do you call them, reenactors, is that this is their bread and butter?
Oh yeah. So we're all this is our jobs. We're all professional bums. So we've got the village blacksmiths, and then I'm not going to get a name. Danny's changed the name from the She Shed to
the She Shed. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was spelt with Gaelic, Irish.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's cool.
She, can't get her name now. That's terrible. And then Roy, the Lura Bodger. Yeah, so that's his full time. He's retired as a teacher, but it's his full time gig as well.
So, and I'm not imagining that these are big, massive businesses. This feels very much like a mission.
Oh, cottage industry.
Yeah.
Mission. Hang on. Lord Bloomfield is another one that turns up on the odd occasion.
As in?
Self-proclaimed lord.
Now,
but he owns a block of land in Scotland.
Oh, so he's actually...
He is a lord.
No, actually, so do you.
Oh, yeah. Alia bought me a square foot of land in Scotland, and I'm now in her phone as Lord Father.
Yes, I wonder if you're side by side.
We could be. I'm sure it's a scam.
You should go camping sometime.
Yeah, ask if I'm allowed. I'll have to stand up because it's only 1 square foot, but that's okay. I know you, so I know for you, you've got this whole business, you've got this workshop back in Wangaratta, so you've got other aspects to what you do when you're not on the road and traveling, and you have been able to turn it into a business. But still, at the same time, when I say a mission, this feels very much like you've not only got a craft and a product that you want to share with the world, but you've got this experience and this message, I guess, would be part of the driving force. And it sounds to me like what you're saying is that with a lot of these guys, like in that lost trade space, they're on this kind of mission with you to what?
To educate the world to buy something with soul that will last longer and give you more joy.
Yeah.
So is that?
Yeah, I like that. Is that out of the brochure?
Brilliant.
Just come out of my head.
That's awesome.
That's
lucky we got that on camera now. So
there you go.
That was expanding on that.
As in, you could just focus your business on what you do in your workshop back in Wangaratta, and you could put the whole thing. You are online, so your website is
www.schloss.com.au.
SCHLOSS.
We'll put it in the show notes.
It's going to be in the description down below.
And probably I'll mine your information of all of the other artisans that you've mentioned so that we can give them a shout out.
Link to them as well below. So you could do your workshop thing. You do run workshops from out of there. You build stuff. You've got an online space. You could just do that. What is it that makes you pack your trailer full of all of this stuff and keep traveling the country doing this?
Because he has fun. All of
So
his
many
mates.
things. Yes. Yeah, there's so much enjoyment in going to these events and interacting. Interacting with the people.
So the community?
So it's part of it. It's my personality. Uh, Words of praise is a love language for me. Understanding who I am. Hugs is also a love
Being
language
told you're
as well.
amazing.
Yeah, it
Who
builds.
doesn't love that?
Yeah, who doesn't? But there's so when I guess there's the community, yes, for sure, of the artisans.
Yeah.
And sitting around the fire and sharing different ideas, like even walking into the forge lit up at night and they're just banging around, smashing stuff, or talking about a process and really diving into it, even though it's not my craft, like understanding, because I'm used to working with my hands in certain aspects of it, understanding how much push you have to, but how much you're pulling back to achieve that stroke of finishing something.
Wow.
It's just conversations that happen around stuff that you only understand from 10,000 hours of being in that master level of just having done it. This is why I feel confident that I can take that on, because I've got 10,000 hours everywhere else and so many other different things that, I stayed away from many years just going, other Coopers, that's someone else does that. That's like, people ask me, why don't you make steel swords? Well, that's another lifetime, because you've got to make. There's 10,000 knives to make before you make a sword. I don't know. That was from some anime show that my son showed me, the Blue Samurai or something.
Knives before you make a sword.
And that is a thing. There is a thing about that. Like to before you get here, you've got to take to that next step.
Wow.
Before. So there's everything you do prepares you for. So maybe I have been prepared to move into coopering. I'm still not sure. I still haven't done anything other than fix up one of George's buckets that got a bit loose from as it moved.
It feels like a sister craft in some of the translatable skills.
Is that because your curiosity will never be satisfied?
Yeah, because everyone asks me what's my favourite thing to make, and I just say the thing that I'm working on at the time, because there's, to some degree, every time I come to a piece, I'm like, I don't even understand how I did this last time. But maybe like a musician that gets up on stage, as soon as you get those first few lyrics out, the rest of it just takes over. It's muscle memory.
Yeah.
It's just, it happens.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and that's even better than what I did last time. It's sort of like you're not even, if you get out of the way, when I try and make some of my things and I try and get them a certain way, they just fail. If I get out of the way and just let it happen, it's just So that's one level. That's the creative thing. There's that whole interaction with the public, that education process, seeing people have aha moments, just simple stuff like, I'm not waving a magic piece of wood over my swords. It's got a sharp blade in here. It's peeling off. The difference between sanding and shaving a piece of wood. So often kids will want to pick up a sword and they start sanding the blade, and I'm like, no, just feel that. I want you to feel over and sand where it's rough. So this part where I've shaped with the plane is much smoother than little bits up here. If you start rubbing with the sandpaper down here, sandpaper works by scratching, you're going to end up with it's going to end up rougher than what it is now. So just education like that.
Tactile.
So getting them. So that's that first step, just the sanding. So you can do it with your eyes shut. Just feel where it's rough and then just sand that bit. But then feel this is already smooth, so leave that alone. But then you can say that, and some parents, more so than kids, just want to sand the thing because there's something wonderful.
They also don't know. This was our experience at our last gig as well, running these practical workshops like milking a cow or collecting eggs or feeding cows.
No idea.
Not only were the kids disconnected because they're not getting any of that through their school and just the way society is right now.
Milk comes from the supermarket. Eggs, they all come in a carton.
I mean, we would take people on a farm tour, we would collect the eggs, and they would be like, do you have to have a rooster to get eggs? Like some of these fundamental things that we as homesteaders understand. Anybody that's kept a chicken understands she's going to lay an egg. Doesn't matter if there's a rooster around. But it's just such a disconnect.
Such a disconnect.
And I guess we probably experienced the same thing with, like, we would aim our experiences at those kids, but knowing that the parents were right there going, oh, wait, it works like that?
in the world?
I had a 65-year-old man ask me how old a cow is when she starts making milk.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, oh, usually around 2. And he goes, oh. And like, what's the trigger point for that?
When
She has
she's
a baby.
a mammal? You know where the word
She
mammal
has a baby,
comes from?
And he goes, oh, I'd never put 2 and 2 together before. Like, the milk that you drink in your coffee is meant for, or is produced because
for the baby.
A baby was born.
Yeah.
And
I had an
like,
uncle once.
Oh.
I think that's, so our audience is, you know, obviously kind of around what we do as homesteaders is predominantly, I think, attracted back to some of those. You do have to almost take a step back in time to live this lifestyle, to reconnect with nature, with livestock, and it's not, you know, and I think that's maybe why people who live rural or farmers get this, you know, character attributed to them of being backwards and being, you know, but because there's this disconnect that happens over time where people aren't raised where they grew their own food, or they had an animal that was part of the property that contributed to their food source, or processed their scraps, or or
made their own furniture,
exactly,
or fixed their own broken items, or
what do you think? I know what we see in the people that are kind of following us on this journey, joining us on this journey. They're doing it themselves. They've been doing it for years, or they're thinking about doing it. I know why they've made that decision, but what do you think is the loss in the world that you're seeing? The joy side of it, the reconnect, the light bulb moments, and that when that happens, I don't know. I guess what I'm saying for me is when I would teach someone how to milk a cow or how to collect eggs, that aha moment was a beautiful moment to experience. And then behind that sits this realization that there's an entire world out there that are completely disconnected from that. And I don't know if that's a good thing. I think it's not a good thing.
Of course it's not.
Why?
Firstly, it takes one generation to lose knowledge. So it only takes, if you live in a city and you're away from any of that and you're not raising any animals and you don't have chickens or anything like it takes no time at all. 2, if you've seen the movie The Matrix, then you know it's not a good idea. Because we're being treated in those spaces as consumers.
Right.
I'm not treating the people that come to my stall as consumers. I'm not trying to sell them anything. All I'm doing is educating them, and what I'm doing, I'm not a salesperson. The items will sell themselves.
It's an offer.
I'm just saying these are my toys. This is how I play with them. These are the things. This is what I've been shown by kids that turn up, how they play with them, and they'll go, they're amazing. I need one, or I would like one. Or, you know, like, this is how I'm doing. This is what I have on offer that can happen here. Yes, we're in. You know, I can. So it's not just consuming a thing off an item. I need that. I'll have it. Or I'm not being told a load of bull. I'm not telling a load of whatever and hyping something up to try and get you
it's not
in.
A pitch. Yeah.
And I catch myself every now and again sounding a bit robotic or this sounds like a pitch. All right, let's try and interact with someone on a different way.
Yeah.
So always, we're human beings. If we start being treated like something other than that, as just a consumer or something that's feeding a machine, we're not designed for that. Yeah. That's why I think people are wanting this connection so much. There's that. They're responding to something innately inside them, the way they've been created to want that full experience as a human being.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to ask you about today was because your craft speaks to me a lot about slowness. And I know, being on a particular mental health journey of my own, where what kind of brought me into this gig in the first place was mental health experience breakdown. Same similar with Kirsty, where that part of the healing process was to reconnect with land and landscape, put my hands in the earth, but more importantly, to participate in an activity that was forcibly slow. To grow a plant, you cannot achieve that like to buy a McDonald's burger. There is no overnight. Like the quickest thing I've ever grown is a radish, and even then that's a few weeks. There's something about that process of engaging in something that's intentionally or forces you to be slow. I know what it's done in me. I guess I wanted to ask you about that. Like, why? I know that some of those festivals you go to, you're not allowed to use power tools.
Yep.
Why don't you? Why do you do this activity where there is a more efficient way to do it? You could still be creative. You could still create unique pieces. Why do you use a block?
Why do you do it the way?
Why do you use this?
It's just a much superior finish.
But is it?
Yeah.
In what way?
Well, it's a straight finish, whereas a rotary electric tool planer will always leave little. And you can get a fairly nice finish, but it's noisy and you can't talk to anyone. There's much more satisfaction in. So that plane there, that's not just pick it up, set it, run it. It's there's a whole lot of adjusting that plane to. You've got to, so you 10,000 hours puts, when you first pick this up, your focus is here.
Yeah.
10,000 hours puts your focus here. I know what's going on here.
Yeah, right.
Instead of here
and
in my hand.
Pressure that you're putting
the pressure and everything. Yeah. So, but then there's knowing that that's out enough, which angle it is, knowing that it's when it's blunt.
Yeah.
What's going on, when it needs to be sharpened. Some say when you think a blade needs sharpening, it's already should have been sharpened.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. There's a lot to do with that being in touch, the difference between driving and walking somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that.
That workshop that you do with kids to take them through the process of, completing a sword, how long does that take?
2 days.
2 days.
10 hours.
Yep. So this is for people that have gone to an event where they're staying or they're coming back the next day.
Yeah. So sometimes on the back of events, I'll do stuff like that in an area. Other times it's over a weekend at my workshop in Beechworth.
Yep.
Or at a school. I've done that at Marston School down in the Marston Ranges.
That's the whole workshop. Build it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's starting from scratch where you, that's the sword workshop, making a sword.
Yeah.
Personalizing workshop where we take a raw sword like this to a finished one like that. That's half hour to an hour, depending on how particular the artists are.
Yeah.
You get some kids that are like, I'm done. So I say to them, well, they might be 5 or 6, and I say to them, well, when you're 18 or 20, will you be looking back on that and thinking, yep, I did a great job on that sword? Or will you be thinking, I could have sanded that a bit better? Just trying to encourage them to spend a bit more time. Then there'll be others that will spend an hour sanding, just get lost in the process, loving the grain. And that's the thing that got me involved in doing what I was sanding a piece of pine, not too similar to just a piece like that. On the back veranda of some people's place in a little town called Chinchilla, Queensland, and just got lost in the grain. And I was 10, fell in love with wood, as well as I guess roaming around block of dirt similar to this, looking while my family was cutting firewood and getting excited about the shapes and stuff.
So that getting kids to engage in that slowing down process. Do you see that some of those mental barriers that when they're used to this kind of instant, like this is quick, this is next thing,
and some of them really love it and immerse it. Others are just like, got to keep going. Or I get parents that come and go, I don't know, how's this going to work for my kids? They don't have any attention span.
Yeah.
Oh, you might be surprised.
Yeah.
So I often get kids that struggle with that at a school setting, but they come to something like this and they are in. But I've got a token system set up, so it means that people can come and go. So for sensory overload, any of that sort of stuff, But I'm at an event where there's the jousting could be on, so
Right.
there's toilet breaks or food or so there is that option.
Yep.
And every now and again, it gets used.
Yeah.
But most of the time, as
Really?
soon as kids get involved and they're into it and they're like, oh, the next thing's naming, or they're just looking forward to the gemstones. As soon as I've gone through and said, yeah, we get to do gemstones, they go, boom, I'm into gemstones. Or, oh, the fire, I can't. And they're trying to, no, you've got to follow. So I've got a system of a series of signs, and they've got to follow these numbers.
They've got to follow the process.
Yeah, and usually I'm trying to educate parents. Make sure mum and dad can count. They can count. Can you count? Make sure, follow the numbers. Number 8's the last one. Don't go from here to oiling. It's not going to work so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, I do see a real slowing down, especially at a festival. It becomes a haven for people. And, sometimes, you get those older kids in their 20s to 30s, and they're just like either chilling out as a group, loving that process, time to sit and chat. They're doing a thing rather than just sitting down talking face to face to each other, or it's just a de-stress. There's also, that, it might be just one just chilling by themselves, and they might meet others, or they might just quietly sit by themselves.
Yeah, wow.
Sand away.
Yeah.
And then, the creative process and the pride that comes back. I tell them, oh, look, I love seeing them when they're finished, come back and show them. And that often they're like, if I'm busy with others, you'll just see them standing over in the distance.
Yeah. Tell us about these castles, Tim, because they've been sitting here in front of the camera the whole time. This is an aspect of your business that you don't make these at the festival because they're quite involved.
Require a bandsaw to make those and cut those out. This is made out of beautiful burl. I was given the opportunity to make these at that little market, the olive tree market. There was another guy selling these.
Yeah.
And just the magic of seeing him close them up out of a block and then pop them out. I was taken, as soon as I saw them. And so Schloss, right?
Yep.
Means castle. He says to me one day, Mr. Schloss, would you like to make the castles? And it's like, well, there's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
of course
right.
I do. Yeah.
Yep.
So I got given the opportunity to make those, as well as these little puzzles, which are also bandsaw. So just cut out on the bandsaw. There's 9 pieces of furniture in those. And then they're just a beautiful, imaginative, it's like medieval or old school Lego. You can make all kinds of animals, words, dozers, trucks. Yeah.
It's quite a Montessori.
Yeah, Steiner.
Steiner,
love them.
Yeah.
Love those. Yeah, a lot of my, as well as the castles, these become beautiful storytelling, as well as holding up books. They're good for storytelling. And I've had some colleges get hold of them and use them in their sessions and stuff like that.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I'm
Some
sad that mine's still packed away.
A piece like that
they purchase them by smell.
Yeah.
Really? Well, because so each castle is made from a different type
Different
of
piece
timber.
of wood.
The one we have is jacaranda.
Yes.
Mm.
What
It's a
a
little
piece
slightly
like that
nutty
takes
smell.
about how long to make?
Mate, I'm an artist.
He'll
Did you ask
say
Van Gogh?
12 hours.
So I've never timed them. I do small batches of various. So when I cut this one and it went through, there's 13 different steps.
Wow.
When I went through making this, I was doing smaller ones as well. So cutting it out on the bandsaw. The bandsaw is surprising. It's not too bad. It's fairly quick sort of process. It's all the other bits, cleaning up all these little pieces. If the bandsaw is a bit blunt, then I get blackening on there. But then I'm putting on the little windows. The people can't move in until the windows are on. There's all kinds of little people living there.
And this is one of those, when we were walking this morning and you saw in the tree that we need to take down.
So growing on the side of the tree, you'll see a burl. Sometimes it's a growth, which is sometimes it's an infestation, and it's sort of a symbiotic sort of growth that it's killing the tree, but sort of not.
And so you've taken something like that and created an art piece from it.
Yeah, there's a lot of these are off mallee burls, prolific. Burls grow prolifically on the mallees. I've got a farmer mate that says, Tim, I've got this tree out in the middle of a paddock that I want to get rid of. I figured I would talk to you about that, and it's just the whole tree's all burl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I definitely know what we'll be doing with ours from now on.
Burls.
Setting them aside.
I'll have to have a look for some, any ironbark bells would be great.
I could talk to you for hours about your craft and the why behind it. I hope that's been really something a little bit different, and I hope you've enjoyed that. Down below, make sure you check out the links. We're going to link to Tim's store as well as some of the other artisans that we mentioned on the show,
festivals,
and some of those festivals where you might be able to.
Sure.
If you know some of the dates, we'll pop those down below. So if you want to run into this guy live and maybe even do one of his workshops, you'll be able to find out where. But until next week, we'll see you later.